Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. Today's video. How do you file a claim to the VA using 99% of your credibility and 1% evidence? Yes. How do you file a claim to the VA with only 1% of evidence and the VA using the other 99% of your credibility? I'm going to break it down for you and give you some examples. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so how do you file a claim this way? And I know you're saying, Dwayne, wait a minute, I don't understand. 99% based off credibility and 1% based off evidence? Yeah. Okay. And I talked about this before in an older video as it pertains to being awarded the parachute badge. Okay. But a lot of veterans are still missing the boat. Okay. But as always, I got you covered because you know I got a video on that. All right. Slide number one. Here's slide number one. I'm taking you back to the VA's M21 D1 Manual Reference. Definition: credibility. Credibility is a blanket term for the fact finding of whether evidence is believable or not believable. Evidence is believable or not believable. That credibility has to be believable. So how do you do it? Don't worry about it. We're going to get into it. There is generally not a formal presumption of credibility. However, as a matter of policy, VA decision makers, which include what? RVSRs in droves. So if you're a VA employee, they're talking about you, Big Bubba, should accept evidence at face value unless called into question by other evidence of record or sound medical or legal principles. Okay? VA decision makers are expected to make credibility determinations when credibility is raised by the evidence available. Okay? Just bear with me because I know you're itching at the bit, like itching at the bit. That's what I said, bit, not the other word, for me to get to it. So, factors to consider in making a fact finding of credibility include consistency with other evidence submitted. Okay, so I'm going to be explaining two things: your credibility, 99%, and 1% of evidence. Let's keep going. Slide number two. Here we go. Another M21 D1 Manual Reference with an example. Let me know in the comment section, have you researched the M21 D1 or the M21 D5, and how many examples did you come across? Okay, I've come across a couple here recently. So the first example, veteran submits a statement, personal statement, okay? And guess what? I got a video on that too. As part of his or her claim, because we do have female veterans, that he or she injured his or her low back in the Air Force while loading cargo onto a C-130 aircraft during an exercise in July 2002. Personnel records reveal the veteran served in the Air Force as a loadmaster and participated in a military exercise in the Philippines in 2002. Now, how do you know they served in the Air Force? They could look at their DD-214. How do you know they served in the Air Force as a loadmaster? It's on that DD-214. How did they know they worked at a military, participated in a military exercise in July 2002? Could receive an achievement medal In the Army, we call them Army Achievement Medals. Normally got them if you went out on the field, exercise or something, and they give an explanation right on that award. But that's another reason why you should get a copy of your VA claims file, which includes your medical records from active duty and your personnel records, okay? Now, the analysis. The veteran's statement, when viewed along with the evidence of record, appears believable. Therefore, this statement is credible. That is enough to get you to that CMP exam. And then you have to explain that situation to the CMP examiner. Hey, I wasn't treated in service for a back condition, but I served as a loadmaster and I hurt my back doing X, Y, and Z. Take that award with you along with your DD-214. Let them know that's how you're claiming it. And if they look in your medical records, they're not going to see it because you're not claiming it due to treatment or injury while in service. That's documented, okay? It is during service, but not documented. So they have to confirm it another way or concede it, all right? Let's keep going. Example number 2. Veteran submits a statement along with his or her claim indicating he or she injured their low back during multiple parachute jumps in the Army from 1980 through 1983. Personnel records reveal veteran's occupation during service was clerk. There was no records indicating that veteran was involved in parachuting operations. The analysis. The veteran's statement, when viewed with other evidence, is not believable. Therefore, the statement is not credible. Now, I kind of disagree with this particular example. Here's why. A lot of you that's in the Army, you know this, and it could be true as it pertains to other branches. Airborne units, they have, not maintenance personnel, but they have armor personnel that handles all the weapons. They have PAC personnel, administrative specialists, HR specialists. When they go out, you go out. It's like that in other combat units, combat arms units, okay? So how would that clerk be asking the VA to concede that injury based off them being awarded the parachute badge, being stationed at Fort Bragg or any other base that have airborne operations? Simple as that. So you have to think about not only what you're claiming, but how you're going to word that personal statement. And I have a video on that, personal statements. I even give some examples in my book. Now, keep in mind, this is not, I repeat, this is not automatic for service connection. Okay, do a quick recap. 99% credibility and 1% evidence. What is that 1% evidence? You probably thought I already talked about it. Well, if you're claiming it due to direct service connection, there's 3 elements: nexus, link, and diagnosis. Make sure you have that diagnosis when you're completing that personal statement that I just showed you from that example in the M21 D1. And then you can build your personal statement around that, okay? Second, keep in mind, this is not automatic service connection. This should be enough for you to get to that compensation and pension exam. But like I stated earlier, you have to explain to that examiner, look, none of this is in my medical records. I am claiming it because I worked as a loadmaster in the Air Force. Take your DD-214, it should have on there loadmaster, right? Also, anything else proving that particular incident. In the same example I gave as it pertains to being awarded the parachute badge. They gave an example. I didn't really agree with that because I'm like, okay, I would have took it a step further and just looked at the DD-214. Yep, awarded the parachute badge. And in the Army, you have what is called a 201 file. I don't know if they still call it a 201 file, but it has every location that you serve. So if you have a copy of that information, okay? In there, it'll say Fort Bragg. You may have other awards or some other documentation showing that you were at Fort Bragg. Now, not everybody at Fort Bragg is airborne, okay? But in that 201 file should be enough evidence to show that, hey, not only were you airborne qualified, you served in a airborne unit, okay? Again, 99% credibility, 1% evidence. That's how you use it to get to the CNP exam. And once you're there, you have to explain that to that CNP examiner so they understand and not just rely on, oh, the veteran was not treated in service, denied. But more so, oh, loadmaster, served in the 82nd Airborne parachute. Yes, service connected, okay? Those are things to think about. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, please share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.